Good morning. It's my pleasure to bring you the 10th edition of the National Science and Maths Quiz Competition by kind courtesy of the GET Fund. Today's contest is the fourth in the preliminary series. Competing today are Aggrey Memorial School and St. Peter's Secondary School. I had a short chat with our contestants before we got here. St. Peter's are former champions. They are the 2000 champions, and they say they want the cup back. Meanwhile, Aggrey Memorial says they are not going to let them. So, well, viewers, let's see what happens. Let's now meet our contestants. We have St. Peter's to my right, represented by
Peter Jakwa, SS3.
Oh, Prince Kwaku, SS3.
Moses Frimpong, SS3.
Aggrey Memorial is to my left and represented by
Kojo Frimpong Benjamin, third year.
Benedicta Bernadette Kweku, third year.
George Jakwa Hayford, third year.
You are welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Within the next hour, we will have 5 rounds of competition. Of course, we always start with the first round, round 1. In this round, you have 15 seconds within which to give me an answer. A major question answered correctly earns you 3 points. If a major question is not answered correctly, I may pass it on to the other school for a bonus point of 1. Good luck to both schools. Your question, St. Peter's. Name 2 glands that secrete amylase. Yes, Peter.
The pancreas and the salivary gland.
That is correct. The pancreas and the salivary gland. Aggrey Memorial, name 2 glands that secrete lipase. Benedicta.
The stomach and the lymphatic vessels.
That is not true, Benedicta. You still have 2 chances. Anybody else wants to try? Benedicta again.
The pancreas and the pancreas.
I wanted 2 glands. I'll give you 2. The pancreas. You mentioned the stomach. We actually wanted the intestinal glands. The pancreas and the intestinal glands. Your question, St. Peter's. Which phenomenon is responsible for the reddish appearance of the sun at sunset? Yes, Peter. No. You have to let me call you. Yes, Prince.
Diffraction.
Diffraction is not correct. You have 1 last chance. Well, for a bonus, Frimpong.
Dispersion of light.
Oh, it's not dispersion. What I have here is the Doppler effect. The Doppler effect. Your major question, Aggrey Memorial. Which wave phenomenon is utilized in radio sets for tuning into different radio stations? Benedicta.
The frequency.
Not frequency. Wave phenomenon. Yes, George.
The transistors.
No. 1 last chance, Benedicta.
The velocity.
Uh-oh. For a bonus, Peter.
Resonance.
And resonance is correct. Resonance is correct. Your question, St. Peter's. Name 1 group of elements in the periodic table which is expected to form ionic compounds. Only 1 attempt. Only 1 attempt. Yes, Prince.
Group 1.
Group 1 is correct. Aggrey Memorial, name another such group. Name another such group. Yes, Benedicta.
Group 2.
And group 2 is correct. We actually have groups 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. No, 6 and 7. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. Your question, St. Peter's. Given that A is a set of A, B, C, and B is a set of B, C, D. There's another set C, which is the set of C, D, E. Find A intersect B intersect C. Prince.
Is the set C. The set containing the element C.
That is correct. The set of C. Aggrey Memorial. Given that A is a set of PQR, B is a set of QRS, and C is a set of T. Find A union B union C. Benedicta.
PQRST.
What's PQ?
The set of PQRST.
And that is correct. That is correct. Your question, St. Peter's. Which electrical circuit device is commonly used to rectify alternating currents? Yes, Peter.
The diode.
Not the diode. Yes,
The
Peter.
rectifier.
Not the rectifier. You have one last chance. Moses.
The transistor.
No. For a bonus Aggrey Memorial. Yes, Benedicta.
Resistor.
No, and it's the capacitor. The capacitor. Your major question, Aggrey Memorial. Which electrical circuit device forms the basis of operation of a computer? Benedicta.
Diodes.
That is not true. Benedicta again.
Capacitor.
No, we already mentioned the capacitor. Last chance, Frimpong.
Resistor.
Not a resistor. For a bonus, Moses.
Integrated circuit.
Oh, no. And the transistor is what we were looking for. Your question, St. Peter's. Only one attempt completes the sentence. Only one attempt. When a radioactive element decays by emitting a beta particle, the atomic number of the daughter element ... Moses.
The atomic number increases by 1.
And that is correct. Exactly what we wanted. That is correct. Aggrey Memorial. When a radioactive nucleus decays by emitting an alpha particle, the mass of the daughter nucleus, George.
Increase by 4.
And I said only one attempt. Non-transferable. It decreases by 4. Decreases by 4. Your major question, St. Peter's. Solve the quadratic equation for x. Solve the quadratic equation for x. St. Peter's. 1 over 6 x squared minus half x plus 1/3 equals 0. Peter.
X equals 1 or x equals 2.
And that is correct. Aggrey Memorial. Solve the quadratic equation for x. 1 over 12 x squared minus 1 over 4x minus 1/3 equals 0. Benedicta.
X is 1 or X is 3?
That is not correct, Benedicta. Yes, Benedicta.
X is 4 or X is minus 1?
And that is correct. That is correct. Your last question for this round, St. Peter's. What special name is given to the lateral meristem of vascular plants? Peter.
The vascular cambium.
That is the cambium. That is correct. That is correct. Aggrey Memorial, your final question for this round. What collective name is given to the minute plants and animals that live on the surface of water bodies? Benedicta.
Protozoans.
That is not true. That is not true. Yes, Benedicta.
Zooplankton.
Plants and animals, Benedict.
Plankton.
Plankton is correct. Plankton is correct. Benedicta, I like your boldness. Keep it up. Viewers, that brings us to the end of round 1.
As I start my day, I know they are counting on me. I am a truck driver for the Ghana Education Trust Fund. My job is to supply books to schools across the country. Whenever I see the school kids, my mind goes back to my school days. I too had hopes and dreams that sadly never came to pass. I made a firm promise to myself that if I couldn't chase my dreams, I would make sure that others could. Seeing these happy kids simply warms my heart. It's happening every day, and I'm proud to be part of Get Fund. Get Fund, we invest in tomorrow's leaders.
At the end of round 1, here are the scores. Aggrey Memorial has 14 points, St. Peter's has 19 points. The former champions have taken an early lead. Can they keep it up? Let's find out. We move on to round 2. In this round, you have 15 seconds once again within which to give me an answer. In a few instances where questions involve calculation, you have 30 seconds within which to give me an answer. Most of the questions are applied in nature, and you will need your understanding of your science and maths to give me answers to these questions. We'll start with Aggrey Memorial. A street appears darker when wet than when dry. Why is this so? George?
This is because when white light is thrown on it, it absorbs all the other colors and emits black color.
I won't take that, George. Yes, George.
When UV light is thrown on it, it absorbs all the other colors, but emits black color because it has a comparable wavelength of that of black light.
I don't know what. I think it's a matter of expression, right? I'll give you 2 out of 3. Or maybe I was too generous. Because basically, when your road is wet, it means you have water there. So when your light hits the road, whatever light is reflected is totally internally reflected in your water, and so that is lost. Because normally it's what is reflected that comes to your eyes, and that's what you see. But since that is lost to you through total internal reflection, the road will certainly appear darker when wet than when dry. Your question, St. Peter's. A source of pure light, that is monochromatic light, at the bottom of a pool of water is switched on, and a man walking past the pool observes the light to be purple. Can he safely conclude that the light being produced by the source is purple light? Explain. Yes, Moses.
No, he cannot conclude that because it could mean that the other components of the light have been absorbed and then only the purple have been reflected. So you see the light as purple.
I won't take that. Yes.
Yeah, I can conclude this because the light is monochromatic. It's made up of only a specific range of wavelength, and so the purple color is only the light coming from the light source because it's monochromatic.
I will not take that. I'll pass it on for a bonus. Yes, Benedicta.
When the light hits the water boundary, they are dispersed into its component colors, and since violet light is the least, purple light is the least dispersed light, the man is able to see the purple light, and so cannot conclude that it's purple light.
No, I won't take that. You know, when we want an answer and we want an explanation to the answer, if the explanation is not right, I just pass it on and keep trying. He cannot safely conclude that the light is purple. This is because the light is coming from water into air. So you are moving from a medium of higher density to a less dense medium. Immediately you do that, speed changes. All right, but the frequency of your light is the same, because you've been told it's a monochromatic light. It has a specific frequency. So when it gets there and the speed changes, in order for frequency to remain the same, wavelength will change. And that change in wavelength may be significant enough to change the color. So even though you are seeing purple, it is possible that whatever light came from down there was not purple. It was a change in wavelength that made the person see the purple color. Your question, Aggrey Memorial. Explain why hydrogen can form ionic bonds as well as covalent bonds. Yes, Frimpong.
This is because hydrogen has only one valence electron in its shell. For that matter, that valence electron can readily lose to another element. For this shows that hydrogen is ionic, and its covalency, hydrogen can share electrons with another element by the sharing of two electrons between the atoms.
Frimpong, I'll give you the mark. Simply put, it can either donate its lone electron or share it with another in a pair, and so it can form both ionic as well as covalent bonds. Your question, St. Peter's. Give one major difference between ionic and covalent compounds. Yes, Prince.
Okay, for the ionic substances, they are soluble in polar or ionic solvents, whilst for the covalent substances, they are insoluble in polar or ionic solvents.
They are soluble where?
They are soluble in covalent liquids or substances.
I'll give you the mark. Also, ionic compounds normally have higher melting points than covalent compounds. Your question, Aggrey Memorial. The radius of a sphere is increased by 2%. Find the percentage increase in the surface area. George?
4%.
And 4% is correct. Your question, St. Peter's. The side of a cube is increased by 5%. Find the percentage increase in the volume of the cube. Moses?
10%.
That is not correct.
1%.
That is not correct. One last chance. Prince?
15%.
15 is correct. 15% is correct. Aggrey Memorial. Reptiles excrete uric acid as their main nitrogenous waste, while amphibians excrete urea. How is this related to their mode of life? Yes, Benedicta.
Amphibians feed mainly on nitrogenous food containing nitrogenous substances, and since urea is a nitrogenous substance.
Benedicta, that's not true. Someone else wants to try. For a bonus, Moses.
Okay, amphibians need to conserve water, so reptiles need to conserve water, so water is absorbed from the nitrogenous compound, and then it forms the uric acid, whereas the amphibians can go into water, so they do not need conservation of water. So
that is correct. That is correct. Your major question, St. Peter's. In animals with lungs, expansion and depression of the lungs cause air to move through the trachea. Insects have trachea, but no lungs. What then causes the movement of air in the trachea of insects? Yes, Peter.
Due to contraction and relaxation of abdominal muscles, which move
and
air.
That is correct. That is correct. the number of arrangements of 10 objects taken 3 at a time? George?
240 ways.
No. Benedicta?
5,760 ways.
No, last chance, George.
60 ways.
That is not correct. For a bonus, Moses?
120 ways.
That is not correct. And I was expecting 720. 720. Your major question, St. Peter's. In how many ways can 6 distinct objects be arranged, taken all at a time? Yes, Moses?
720 ways.
And 720 is correct. Now, in the first instance, it was also permutation. And what we wanted was 10p3. And 10p3 is 10 factorial over 7 factorial. It should give you 720. Your question, Aggrey Memorial. What happens in a plant when the rate of photosynthesis is greater than the rate of respiration? Yes, Frimpong.
When the rate of photosynthesis is high, more food is produced. But when the rate of respiration is high, water is easily lost out of the plant.
Benedicta, do you want to try?
Plants excrete oxygen as the main waste product of respiration, and they use carbon dioxide as the starting material for photosynthesis. When the rate of photosynthesis is higher in the plant, more carbon dioxide will be used and less oxygen will be excreted. And so the plants, more food will be stored in the...
No. For a bonus, St. Peter's, Prince.
Okay, the waste product of photosynthesis is oxygen, the byproduct. And this byproduct is used by the plant in respiration. Now, if the rate of photosynthesis is greater than that of respiration, there'll be a net production of oxygen, and this will be excreted by the plant. And also, since the food being produced in photosynthesis is not being oxidized or being respired by the plant, this food will be converted to other forms and stored in other parts of the plant.
I'll give you the mark. Your major question, St. Peter's. What happens in a plant when the rate of photosynthesis is less than the rate of respiration? Peter?
There will be a net production of CO2. Also, the weight of the plant will decrease, and then the other forms of energy, the stored products will be converted to glucose to be oxidized.
All right. Did you want to add to that, Moses?
Okay, less food will be stored.
I'll give you the mark. All has been said. And it's not just a net output of CO2, but also a net output of CO2 and water, because those are the byproducts of, well, what do you call it? Photosynthesis, respiration. Your last question for this round, Aggrey Memorial. Chemically, what is the difference between soaps and detergents? Yes, George.
Soaps are produced by the alkaline hydrolysis of an ester, but with the detergents, they are...
Yeah, Benedicta. Fripo.
Soaps are produced as a result of alkaline hydrolysis of ester to produce soap and glycerol, but with the detergent is a new form. When the soap undergoes certain reactions, we have the detergents.
That is not true. All right. Soaps are salts of fatty or long chain acids. Soaps are salts of fatty or long chain acids. And detergents are salts of completely ionized acids, or what we call the sulfonilic acids. Your major question, St. Peter's. Which soaps are softer, Potassium soups or sodium soups? Of course, only one attempt. Moses?
Potassium.
And potassium is correct. And that brings us to the end of round 2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The future lies in the hands of our children. Children today, leaders tomorrow. And education holds the key. Without the proper learning environment, these children may never reach their full potential. And it should not be that way.
It looks like what?
That is where the Ghana Education Trust Fund steps in, so that these children can have access to basic facilities and enjoy the learning experience. Gradually, one by one, we are removing the barriers in the way of quality basic education. We will continue so they too can continue. Get Fund. We invest in tomorrow's leaders.
At the end of the round, here are the scores. Aggrey Memorial has 22 points. St. Peter's has 40 points. Well, St. Peter's are well on their way to defending, retrieving the cup if they can continue like this. But I don't think Aggrey Memorial wants to let them. So let's move on to round 3, find out what happens. In this round, as usual, contestants have 3 minutes within which to solve the same problem. The problem of the day is worth 10 points. After they have their solutions ready, one each from the schools will go to the board to present their solutions, after which we'll compare with what I have and award marks. Contestants, please turn over those sheets in front of you as I read. A calorimeter consisting of a thin copper cup of mass 150 grams containing 500 grams of water is at a temperature of 20 degrees Celsius. A 225-gram sample of an unidentified material at 440 degrees Celsius is lowered into the bath and the device is sealed. After a few minutes, the system reaches a constant temperature of 40 degrees Celsius. Determine the specific heat capacity of the sample. Neglect all heat losses. Specific heat capacity of water is given as 4.2 kilojoule per kilogram per Kelvin, and specific heat capacity of copper is given as 0.4 kilojoule per kilogram per Kelvin. That, viewers, is the problem of the day.
The future lies in the hands of our children. Children today, leaders tomorrow. And education holds the key. Without the proper learning environment, these children may never reach their full potential. And it should not be that way.
It looks like what?
That is where the Ghana Education Trust Fund steps in, so that these children can have access to basic facilities and enjoy the learning experience. Gradually, one by one, we are removing the barriers in the way of quality basic education. We will continue so they too can continue. Get Fund. We invest in tomorrow's leaders.
You're welcome back. Our contestants will now go to the board to present their solutions. Thank you for those solutions, contestants. We'll now go through what I have. We said mass of calorimeter MC is 150 grams, which is equal to 0.150 kilograms. Mass of water MW is 500 grams, that's also 0.500 kilograms. Initial temperature of calorimeter and water, that is TIC, equals TIW, and that is 20 degrees Celsius. Mass of the substance MS is given as 225 grams, or 0.225 kilograms, or kilogram. Initial temperature of substance, TIS, is given as 508 degrees Celsius. Now, final temperature TF is 40 degrees Celsius. We say heat lost by substance equals heat gained by calorimeter and water. So MSCS delta TS should be equal to MCCC delta TC plus MWCW delta TW. But since delta TW is the same as delta TC, in other words, the change in temperature is the same for your calorimeter and your water, you could take that outside your bracket. So you have MCCC plus MWCW, all in brackets, times delta TW. Once you've set your equation this way, you just put in your values. So you have 0.225 CS into 440 minus 40 being equal to 0.150 times 0.4 plus 0.500 times 4.2. That's, you could close your brackets and another bracket, 40 minus 20, which is your delta T. If you solve that, you should end up with CS being equal to 43.2 over 90. Which should give you 0.48 kilojoule per kilogram per Kelvin. So that's what we were expecting. Let's see the solution from St. Peter's. Now they had the equation MWCW delta theta 1 plus MCCC delta theta 1 being equal to M naught C naught delta theta naught. Now when I go on to look at the values they've plugged in there, it means that MW is for the water, MC is for the calorimeter, and M naught refers to the sample we're talking about. Okay, so they worked actually in joules because they did not convert their values to kilograms. So they worked actually in joules and ended up with 43,200 over 90. That should have given them, I guess, 48 something, because our value here is 0.48. But they had 49.1, which means that their arithmetic was wrong. And so, for that, I gave them 8 out of 10 because they basically did everything. Let's see the solution from Aggrey Memorial. Well, Aggrey Memorial found the heat for the water, the heat for the calorimeter, okay, which they are calling copper. Basically, it was a calorimeter. They found that to be 1.2. And again, they had converted their values to kilograms. So the heat they were calculating was supposed to be in kilojoules. 1.2 has to be 1.2 kilojoules, and the heat for the water is 42 kilojoules, not joules. And even the symbol for joule is not a small g, it's always a capital G. Well, and then for the metal, you end up with 90 C, right? So, well, they knew how to get the heat of the calorimeter and the heat of the water. But whether they knew that in the end, the heat lost by the substance should be equal to the sum of the heat gained by calorimeter and water did not come up. And there's no way I'm going to think for them. That did not show at all. So for what they have presented, I give 5/10. And so we end round 3 and we'll go on to round 4. In this round, most questions involve calculation. Contestants therefore have 30 seconds most times within which to give me an answer. In a few instances when questions do not involve calculation, they have 15 seconds within which to give me an answer. We'll be starting with you, St. Peter's Secondary. Remember, a major question is to be attempted 3 times only within the time. Your question. At a charity concert, 2 types of tickets were sold. Ticket A cost 50,000 cedis, and ticket B cost 20,000 cedis each. In all 300 tickets were sold, and the total receipt was 12 million cedis. How many of the 8 tickets were sold? Yes, Peter?
200.
200 is correct. At a concert show, 2 types of tickets were sold. The cheaper ticket cost 10,000 cedis. 200 tickets are sold altogether, and the total receipt was 3 million cedis. If 50 of the expensive tickets were sold, find the cost of an expensive ticket. For a bonus, St. Peter's, Moses?
30,000.
30,000 is correct. Your question, St. Peter's, calculate the volume of 1.0 mole per gm cubed NaOH solution that must be added to 500 cm cubed of 0.1 mole per gm cubed ethanoic acid solution so that exactly half of the acid is neutralized. Yes, Peter?
25 cm cube.
That is correct. Aggrey Memorial, calculate the volume of 0.50 mole per gm cubed BaOH2 that should be added to 500 cm cubed of 0.20 mole per gm cubed HCl so that exactly 75% of the acid is neutralized. Yes, Frimpong?
75%.
Watch it, watch it. You want volume.
75 cm cube.
Yes, that is correct. A hydraulic press has a small piston with cross-sectional area 2 times 10 to the minus 2 meters squared, and a large piston with cross-sectional area 1 meter squared. What force must be applied at the small piston to overcome a 750 Newton weight on the large piston? Prince, is your hand up? Yeah.
15 newtons.
15 newtons is correct. Is correct. A hydraulic press with a large piston with cross-sectional area of 15 meters squared overcomes the weight on the large piston when a force is applied at the small piston. If the weight is found to be 3 times the magnitude of the force applied on the small piston, what is the cross-sectional area of the small piston? George. Area.
5 meters squared.
That is correct. That is correct. Your question, St. Peter's. When the brakes are applied, a car decelerates uniformly at a rate of 11 meters per second squared. If the car is traveling at 33 meters per second when the brakes are applied, how far does it travel before coming to rest? Yes, Prince.
49.5 meters.
That is correct. That is correct. A car accelerates uniformly from rest at a rate of 10 meters per second squared and reaches a speed of 80 meters per second. Find the distance traveled during this period. Benedicta.
220 meters.
And that is correct. That is correct. St. Peter's, pick the odd one out. Only one attempt. A. Amoeba. B. Plumeria. C. Trypanosoma. D. Plasmodium. E. Paramecium. Prince.
Plumeria.
Plumeria is correct. Plumeria is a type of alga. All the others are proctotists. Aggrey Memorial, pick the odd one out, only one attempt. A. Octopus. B. Clam. C. Oyster. D. Squid. E. Shrimp. Benedicta.
Squid.
I'm sorry, Benedicta. The answer is shrimp. That is a crustacean. All the others are mollusks. Your last question for this round, St. Peter's, and there's a common statement to both schools. A transformer has 500 turns on the primary coil and 25 turns on the secondary coil. St. Peter's. If 20 volts is required at the secondary side, what voltage must be applied at the primary side? Peter?
1 volt.
That is not true. Yes, Moses?
400 volts.
That is correct. That is correct. Aggrey Memorial, if the current flowing through the primary coil is 15 amps, what is the current flowing through the secondary coil? Yes, George.
30 amps.
30 amps is not correct. Watch it. Yes, Benedicta.
20 amps.
That is not true. For a bonus, Prince.
300 amps.
And 300 amps is correct. 300 amps is correct. On that note, we come to the end of round 4.
As a little girl, my dream was to become a doctor. I always wanted to help the sick. Now I'm in the dental school together with others who had similar dreams. The support from the Ghana Education Trust Fund has made things a lot better. Their support has helped provide new equipment, teaching aids, improved facilities, and our student loan. We're studying hard, and we know that we can continue to count on support from Get Fund to turn our dreams into reality.
St. Peter's has increased the lead. Aggrey Memorial has 39 points. St. Peter's has 68 points. And now to the last round. We'll start with the riddles. Contestants are competing to be the first to solve the riddles. I'll be reading the clues to each riddle. If a riddle is solved on the first clue, it earns 5 points, or the school earns 5 points. If it's solved on a second clue, a school earns 4 points. On any other number of clues, a riddle solved is worth 3 points. When St. Peter's is ready to solve a riddle, they call my attention by ringing a bell that sounds like this. The bell from Aggrey Memorial, when they are ready to solve a riddle, sounds like this. All right. Good luck to both schools. I'll take the first riddle. Please listen attentively. I am a 6-syllable word, and hence a mouthful to those who do not know me. Although I have nothing to do with sound, my first 2 syllables suggest that I do. Being an activity, my third syllable tends to suggest that I am an actor. Far from it. I am a phenomenon associated with decay. Moses.
Radioactivity.
And that is correct. To the second riddle. As a mathematical operation, I am quite different, as part of my name suggests. My domain is the set of functions. I generally reduce the order of a polynomial. George.
Differentiation.
That is correct. Differentiation is correct. Now the third riddle. I am a structure associated with unicellular organisms. I am proteinaceous and transparent. Unlike my cousin the cuticle who is dead, I am alive.
Helical.
Helical is correct. Helical is correct. Benedicta gets 4 points for that effort. Let's take the last riddle. I am often mistakenly referred to as thickness. Heat is my greatest enemy. One could easily mistake the sound of my last 2 syllables as a vast area of human settlement or human resettlement. I am a member of the opposition. Are you looking for me? Then come to anything that flows or has a tendency to flow. Who rang the bell? Benedicta? George?
Fluid.
No. Do you want to try that, St. Peter's? I have finished reading my clues. Who am I? Yes, Moses.
Insulator.
Oh, no. The word we are looking for is viscosity. Viscosity. All right, to the second part of round 5. Here, contestants have 10 seconds within which to give me an answer. You are to say whether the statements I make are true or false. A correct answer earns you 2 points. An incorrect answer attracts a penalty of -1. This is to discourage guessing. We'll start with you, Aggrey Memorial. When silver oxonitrate 5 solution is added to bromide ions, a cream precipitate is observed. Yes, Benedicta.
True.
That is correct. That is correct. St. Peter's, the hookworm is a roundworm. Moses, Moses. I'm sorry, Moses, that is true. The hookworm is a roundworm. Your statement, Aggrey Memorial, for a body that starts from rest to attain a velocity v, v depends only on the acceleration of the body during the process. Benedicta?
False.
That is correct. St. Peter's, two lines can intersect in at most one point. Yes, Prince?
False.
That is correct. That is correct. They can actually coincide. Aggrey Memorial, the bristle worm has a segmented body. Benedicta?
True.
That is correct. That is correct. Silver bromide is insoluble in aqueous ammonia. Peter?
False.
I'm sorry, Peter. That is true. Aggrey Memorial, a 15% weight by volume solution means that every 100 cm cubed of the solvent contains 15 grams of the solute. Benedicta?
It's false.
And that is correct. That is correct. Your statement, St. Peter's. If two children exert a force of 20 newtons at opposite ends of a rope, the tension in the rope is 40 newtons. Moses?
False.
That is correct. Aggrey Memorial. If two lines intersect to form a pair of congruent angles, then the lines are perpendicular. Benedicta?
False.
I'm sorry, that is true. That is true. Your statement, St. Peter's, in bryophytes, the gametophyte generation is dominant. Moses?
True.
That is correct. Aggrey Memorial, vegetative propagation occurs only in plants. Frimpong?
It's true.
I'm sorry, Frimpong. Solution means that in every million cm cubed of solution is found 12 grams of solute. Let me take that again. 15 ppm solution means that in every million cm cubed of solution is found 15 grams of solute. Yes, Moses?
True.
I'm sorry, that is false. That is false. The unit has to be the same. If it's cm cubed, it has to be cm cubed. I said million cm cubed, 15 grams of solute. So that makes it false. Your statement, Aggrey Memorial, and it's your final statement for this round. If one man exerts a force of 40 newtons, if one man exerts a force of 40 newtons at one end of a rope, while another man exerts a force of 60 newtons at the other end, the tension in the rope is 50 newtons. Yes, Benedicta,
false.
That is false. That is false. That is correct. Lines that do not intersect are parallel. Lines that do not intersect are parallel. Prince?
False.
That is correct. That is correct. And on that note, we come to the end of round 5. Let's hear the scores at the end of this contest. Aggrey Memorial has 53 points. St. Peter's has 75 points. I'm sorry, Aggrey Memorial, but thanks for coming on the program. That was not too bad a performance, but St. Peter's have proven to be really former champions, and they are on their way to seeing whether they can retrieve the cup from our reigning champions, Opokuwari Secondary. See you next time, Aggrey Memorial. Congratulations, St. Peter's Secondary. We'll see you at the next stage of this year's Science and Maths Quiz competition. Well, we've come to the end of today's contest. Make a date with us same time next week when we bring you yet another contest between St. Francis Xavier Secondary and Bolgatanga Secondary. Have a good weekend. Bye for now.